Your provider checked your cervix and you are 2 centimeters. So how much longer are you going to be pregnant? Is this cervix a crystal ball that's going to tell you when that baby is going to pop out? Today, I'm going to share it with you. And in case we haven't met yet, hello, I'm Hillary. I'm the pregnancy nurse. I've been a nurse since 1997. I have 20 years of labor and delivery experience. And I'm so glad that you guys are here because this cervix can be really confusing. And I want you guys to have all the information I can give you. So let's jump into it.
Repeat, this is not a drill.
Announcement. The pregnancy nurse is a nurse, but not your nurse. This is informational, not medical advice. Thank you.
So if you are 2 centimeters, which means that the opening at the bottom of the cervix, which by the way, baby, this guy's like a 6. He's been stretched out. How much longer are you going to be pregnant? And the answer is, we don't know, right? It is very normal at that check, 39 weeks of pregnancy for you to be 1 to 2 to 3. I was even 5 centimeters with one of my babies. And it didn't mean that baby was going to come out because what your cervix shows doesn't give the full picture. Because just because you're dilated now doesn't mean you're going to continue to dilate, especially if the uterus isn't contracting. It's got to start doing a job to push that baby into the birth canal. And even if this cervix is closed, thick and high, doesn't mean that with some meaningful contractions, it can't start to open up. And yes, when I was 5 centimeters, I walked around for like a full week at 5 centimeters because I wasn't in labor. My body wasn't pushing the baby into the birth canal, and that can be very normal. And if you're here thinking, Hillary, I absolutely hate cervical exams, I actually have a whole video on making cervical exams a little bit more comfortable. I'm going to link that down below. And if you are having your cervix checked, you're likely very much in your 3rd trimester. And I have a whole 3rd trimester prep pack that I can email to you. It's totally free. I'm going to link that down below as well. So if you're 2 centimeters, what the heck does that actually tell you? Well, it shows that you might be having some contractions as well as gravity with this baby just pushing down on the cervix can help it to open up as well. And so that is what is causing it to open. And early on in pregnancy, it's going to start to come through, but it's not going to open it up all the way. Let's give it up for my crocheted uterus and baby, shall we? Now, when we check your cervix, a lot of times we only give you a few numbers. So if you're 2 centimeters, that means it's open 2 centimeters at the bottom. But what is the consistency of your cervix? Does it feel hard like rubber, or is it soft and might open very easily if you started to have some contractions? Also, how high or low in the pelvis is your baby's head? If baby is still up here, we've got a little bit of time before they can go down. But some of you are walking around with that baby right on your bladder. Condolences if that's you. And that shows us that, baby is well engaged and ready to come out again when that uterus wants to put some oomph behind it. Along with all that, we also talk about how thick the cervix is. So when you are not in labor early on in pregnancy, your cervix is about, as thick as that part of it is. And so if that part is still really thick, it shows us that maybe your cervix is a little less ready. And that's especially on your first baby. A lot of times on 2nd+ babies, your cervix can still be thick and then thin out very quickly if you've already had a baby. So what does your cervix even tell you? I get that. If you don't like a cervical exam and they offer it in the office, you can say no. Sometimes they say, we'll check your cervix today. But unless there's like a real reason, like you've been having preterm labor, there really isn't a reason to let them check your cervix if you really don't want them to check it. I totally understand that. And I actually have a whole video on refusing cervical exams that you guys might find helpful. But what are the reasons you might want to have your cervix checked? Definitely preterm labor. If you're early on and your cervix is dilating, that's not something that we want. So we want to watch for that. Also, if you are wanting to be induced, then they would want to check your cervix in the office to see what medications or methods would be best for your induction. So both of those would definitely be a reason why you would want to get checked in the office. And some people are just curious, which is totally fine too. You just got to know that the information may not ultimately be all that helpful. And here is where I tell you the 4 truths about cervical exams. Are you ready? What your cervix is now doesn't mean it couldn't change within a few hours. Number 2, it is not just a number. There's a lot about the cervix, how soft, where the baby is in the uterus, all those different things really to give us a broader picture of your uterus and how the baby's doing in the womb and if they're likely to come out anytime soon. Number 3, without contractions by our friend the uterus, any dilation is just a number. It doesn't tell us anything about about the future. You got to have contractions, good contractions from this uterus to really make a change and go into labor, because labor is about your uterus contractive and making you dilate, not just a number. And number 4 is that doctors like to give good news. I don't know why they'll be like, oh, you're 2 centimeters any day now. Why would you say that? I literally have no idea why they say that, but they say it all the time because they just like to give good news. They know that you're really uncomfortable. There isn't a whole lot that they can be doing. So they would like it for it to end for you, right? And so sometimes they say silly things like that when ultimately just because that cervix is 2 centimeters doesn't mean it's any day now. So making the choice if that cervical exam is really going to be for you is something that you can do on your own and in collaboration with your provider, because it's really okay to say, I absolutely hate cervical exams. They're really uncomfortable or reminds me of issues that I've had in my past. All of these things are totally fine. And the more information you can give your provider, even if some of it feels a little bit vulnerable, the better care that they can offer you. But learning to have those conversations with your provider is so important. It's part of a good birth class. I'm going to put the class that I recommend down below. And if you're saying, Hillary, I'm 2 centimeters, I don't have time to take a birth class, I'm here to tell you the class I recommend can be done in just hours. You could be prepared before you even know it. Now, all of those different things about the cervix is about how ripe your cervix is. And I actually have a whole video on cervical ripening and what it means to ripen your cervix. I'm going to link it up above and down below. But thank you for joining us here on The Pregnancy Nurse, where we get you prepared, not scared, for your upcoming hospital birth.